Welcome back to the Irresistible You podcast. You are listening to episode 192. And today's episode, I am back to give you an update on what's been going on since I started the Semaglutide Weight Loss Injections. If that sounds good to you, stick around. All right, guys. It's time for an update. I haven't given one in quite a while since I went on the injections, which if you don't know about that, you can go back and listen to prior episodes where I talk about just being fed up with weight, feeling like the weight was just piling on no matter what I was doing. Nothing was working. And so I made a decision to start a medical weight loss plan and taking semaglutide injections, which semaglutide is the compounding agent which is found in the name brand weight loss injections that I know every single person has heard of. This is the active ingredient. It's the same thing. It's just not, for the most part, it's the same thing. So you can research that on your own. I'm not here to do that for you today. What I am here to do today is to just give you an update on my thoughts, my progress, and my plans going forward. So I started taking these injections towards the end of June of this year. And I have been taking them every single week. And when you start these injections, you have to start on the lowest dose. That can be a little frustrating, which I will share why. So with the injections, you have to titrate up because you cannot start at the highest dose at the very beginning because your body has to build up to it. If you were to start at the highest dose, you would become incredibly sick. There's a lot of gastrointestinal issues that can happen as your body gets used to taking the injection. So I am just about 13 weeks into all of this. And so for the first 4 weeks, you do the 0.25 milligrams. And the next 4 weeks, it's 0.5. And then the next 4 weeks, it's 1 milligram. So I have completed all of those doses. I am actually due to begin the 1.5 today. And as I'm recording this, I'm actually leaving for Disney World in the morning. So I don't know if I'm going to actually make it over to the doctor to get that shot today. I'm going to try my best, but between finishing work projects, finishing packing, and having both of my kids by myself, I don't know if that's going to happen. So I want it to happen. We'll see how it goes. When I get back next week and do my next episode, I will share that with you. So as you're listening to this, I'm already in Disney, and I'm actually coming home the day that you're listening to this. So anyway, you do each dose 4 times. And I have to say, and I know I shared this probably in the last episode, is that I definitely felt something the first week. It was very subtle. I would not say it was drastic whatsoever, but it was very subtle. As the weeks went on, I have to be honest with you, I didn't really notice anything. Sometimes, but for the most part, like it really felt no different than anything else. Once I started the 1 milligram is when I started to notice a difference. I started to notice a significant difference in how I'm feeling. So in the beginning, I really didn't have any of the gastrointestinal issues that a lot of people talk about, maybe like a little bit of nausea, like the first couple hours, and that's it. With the 1, I have definitely been feeling more nauseous, especially when you first get the injection the first couple of days. But more importantly, what I have been feeling is more full. And that's the goal with this medication, is just feeling full, like in even some foods not sounding appetizing, or, just to give you an example, we had donuts in the house and I had 1 and they've been sitting in the house for like 4 days. I didn't want them. And that is huge for me. Like, it has definitely, now that I'm in the 1, which is why I really want to make sure I get my 1.5 sooner than later, it has curbed those cravings. It has turned off the constant noise. Like a lot of times at the end of the night when I finally get the kids to sleep and I would come downstairs and I would like still be hungry or I would want a snack and grab something to eat. I've been finding myself like in the last month, I would say, not wanting to do that at all. Or you know how like you don't want, like, you know, you should order the grilled chicken, but you really want the like Chick-fil-A #1, but you really know, no, I really should not do that. I really should get the grilled chicken. And sometimes the idea of eating grilled chicken makes you want to gag. That's me. With this, I don't feel pissed off or I don't feel like I'm missing out on something. It really truly is now in the place where I feel like, oh my God, it's working, because I was starting to lose faith. I was really starting to lose faith over the summer that this was a waste of time, a huge waste of money, and that it wasn't producing results because the weight has not just been magically falling off, okay? And from what I've been understanding and doing all the research and reading things and talking to people, a lot of people don't notice until they get to that 12-week marker. And I was really about to throw the towel in the other day and be like, I'm done. This is stupid. Like, this is a big waste of my money. I'm not going to continue this. And I'm like, no, you're going to stick it out. You're going to stay committed to the process and just stick around and see what happens as you go up in dose. And so it was really irritating to me that you can't start at a higher dose because it feels like I'm wasting time and money while I'm doing this, but it's well worth it. And if this continues in the pattern that it's going, then yes, I will be continuing it. And you titrate up to, I believe the highest is 2.5 or 2.4, something like that. So I'm definitely going to stick it out because they're saying, and even my doctor's saying, like, most people start to see real results around the 12-week, or some people 8 to 12 weeks. And I'm like, okay, cool. So when I share my results with you, I'm not like, okay, I have mixed feelings about it because I'm not overly excited about the results. I'm not wowed by them. I'm not all that, like, I just feel neutral about them. I'm not happy. I'm not sad. I'm not mad. I'm just whatever about them, honestly. And yeah, so let's just get into it, okay? So when I first got into this and decided that this was the route I was taking, because no matter what I was eating, no matter what I was doing, no matter what I was cutting out, the weight was coming on with a vengeance, okay? And so when I started, I was hitting at 234, okay? That was around June 23rd. That was my last episode. So it would have been the week before. So June, whatever that was, the week. So mid-June to mid-September, okay? Again, it's extremely underwhelming in my opinion. So I started at 234, and as of today, I'm at 225, okay? I'm not wowed by that. I'm not floored by that. I'm not overwhelmed by that. Like, it just is what it is. There's a part of me that wants to be like, you know, the inner fat bitch come into the circle and be like, oh, see, look at you spend all this money, bitch, and you can't lose more weight. Like, and the other part of me wants to be like, yeah, well, I'm still down almost 10 pounds. And if you were to do the math, it's been about 12 weeks. And that's almost 1 pound a week if you average it out. And the reason why that's important, I want to stress this, because this is how we stop beating ourselves up. Someone will look at that and say, let's see, June, July, August, 3 months, okay? Oh my God, like in 3 months, you only lost 10 pounds. Okay. That's how we beat ourselves up. When we take the average, because here's the thing about weight loss. You're going to lose, you're going to gain, you're going to maintain. Sometimes you're going to plateau for weeks. And that happened to me in the summer. Like, I just stayed the same. And that's when I was like, this is bullshit. This doesn't work. I'm not doing this anymore. Okay. If you average that out, that's almost a little bit under a pound per week. That's what you have to focus on. That's what I have to focus on. Something is working, because here's what I also want to share with you. I'm not tracking my food. I'm not planning my food. I went the summer just free falling, living my life. That doesn't mean I was out here, balls to the wall, like eating all the garbage and all the junk and binging. No. But I just got to a point where I was fed the fuck up with the number on the scale, the fact that it kept creeping up no matter what I was doing, the constant obsession, the constant tracking, the constant planning, the constant talking about it, even on here. And I think that's probably why I really had to take a step back from the podcast too, is that I just got so sick and tired of weight. And I just lived my life, right? I just lived my life. I did what I wanted to do. I ate what I wanted to eat within reason, and I do believe that the medication is helping to keep me on track as far as making me feel full, making me not obsess about food as much, making me not think about, wanting to have certain things. Like a couple times we've gone to Target, and my bougie kids always want a cake pop from Starbucks in Target. Okay, yes. And a lot of times I will get one along with them, or maybe I grab a macchiato or whatever. Well, the last couple times I didn't want one. So I went over there and I got one for them. And I will say there's times in the past where that's like a really hard thing where you feel like you're missing out. I don't feel that. So I do think that it's working. I do think that these changes are happening. And I have seen people where the first 8 to 12 weeks, it was very slow going. And then this one woman I was watching, like the last 6 to 8 months, she dropped like 80 pounds, which was mind blowing to me, and so we're still down. We're still in the game. We're still playing. We're still living life. We're still learning, right? And so I'm going to stick with it. And so, that's my results. They might be underwhelming to you, but the lesson here is that you have to look at the big picture, right? If I had stayed the same, I don't know. But I have been going down. There is an average of that. And so something is working, something is in there. And like the last week is when I really started to feel I actually could feel something. Like I'm not hungry, or, I've eaten part of my dinner. Like in the beginning, I would leave behind, like, let's say a sliver of food or like a quarter of the food. I was just slowly noticing that was happening, where the past week has been when it ramped up for me, where I just can't, right? So what this does is it does slow down the digestion. And there's also a component that it does something to your brain that turns off all of the chatter about food. All of that emotional piece that you just sometimes can't stop thinking. So, and I will tell you, when you're going through a weight loss journey and you're really working on yourself and you're really trying to turn off the inner fat bitch and the food chatter, it's going to be really uncomfortable. And I've shared this before. When I, years ago decided that I was going to work on the why, like, why am I this way? How did I get here? Not just going on a diet to lose 30 pounds to go on a vacation. It got really uncomfortable. And I've been feeling that a little bit as well, where it's like, well, if I'm not eating, then what am I doing? Like, and realizing how I had fallen back in some of that, especially at night when the kids go to bed and I'm just like, oh my God, finally I'm done. I'm done with work. I'm done with kids. And I just want to sit down and like eat something. All right, cool, eat something, but like let's make it but make it a good choice, right? um but when you are doing that, it will get uncomfortable. You feel like your nerves are about to come out of your skin because the food has always just been a go-to thing that you look for to soothe yourself or comfort yourself. And so you have to find other ways to do that. Yeah, so that's it, guys. That's the results. That's what I have to share. Um I'm gonna start to, as I go up in dose, I'm gonna ramp things up as well on my end. I'm learning and trying to make better choices for a lot of different reasons. And here's the other thing. So I'm not diabetic. My A1C level a year ago was considered pre-diabetic. It was like right over the border. This year, when I had my A1C done a while ago, a couple months ago, it was right before I took these injections. I think it was, yeah, in the summer, right before this started, I was right under that pre-diabetic zone. So it's something that I know if you don't start getting the weight down, if you don't start, being consistent in your choices, type 2 could be a reality for you. And I don't want that. I checked my blood sugar's never high. Like, it's never like super high. Like, I noticed the other day I decided to check it and it was in between meals and it was 76. I don't think I've seen that number. Like, it's usually like in the 90s or so when I'm like in between meals, or even closer to 100. So I was like, okay, like it's not just about the weight loss. This is doing something else as well that's really beneficial to my body. And they have shown in studies that there are tremendous benefits to, fighting obesity with these medications, to reducing heart disease, to reducing type 2 diabetes. And all of those things are in my genetics, and I have to do everything I can to not go down that path. And also with the results that I got on my heart, with the heart murmur, and I had the ultrasound done this summer, I can't afford to go down that path, right? I have to take really good care of myself and make better choices and all of that. So that's what's happening. I think I've definitely been eating better. I've been, just trying to live life and not be so obsessed. Like, I know there's value in tracking and planning, and I know that I preach that to you guys, but I just needed to take a break from it. It was becoming so tedious and annoying that I didn't want to do it. And I was like, well, let's just see what happens. Let's just see what happens if we don't, right? And so I think I've done this long enough to where I know what to do. I know what to choose. I know how to keep myself accountable. I weigh in every week. I sometimes weigh in every other day or so, just to see. It's good sometimes to see the fluctuations and notice, okay, this is happening because, or when I eat this, the scale's going to go up. It's completely normal. So those are my results. That's where I'm at. I'm going to continue what I'm doing. I definitely want to try to slip in there today and get the 1.5. Especially since I'm going to Disney. And, here's the other thing about that. I'm going on vacation, right? Well, it's like vacation / conference. So it's a little bit of work, a little bit of pleasure, a little bit of both. I love Disney. I'm not going to, when I go on vacation, for me, I'm not going to hold myself back from enjoying food, because I'm a foodie. I think that certain foods are just part of the experience, and it just is what it is, okay? And I'm not going to give that up. I also know that when I go to Disney, I am on my feet walking 20, 30,000 plus steps a day. And what I've also noticed when I go to Disney, because it's hella hot, is I see all these things that I want to try, like when I watch the videos and watch everybody's reels and stuff, and then I get there and I'm so hot, and I'm just like, we're on the go. There's things we want to do that I don't want to eat like that. Does that make sense? But I'm also not going to like, no, can't have that. Like, no, I'm going to have what I want to have. When I'm done, I'm done. I always tell my kids when it comes to food, eat what you want and leave the rest. We don't need to finish our plates if we don't want it. Listen to your body. Eat what you want, leave the rest. Right? That whole thing about, oh my God, I'm wasting food. Like, okay, you already paid for the food. So whether you eat all of the food or whether you throw away part of the food, it doesn't matter. Because if you shove it down your throat because you have some philosophy that you're going to waste it, yeah, you're still going to waste it. You're going to waste it on your body. You're going to waste it on abusing yourself by eating when you're already full. Think about it that way. Anyway, so yes, I'm going to Disney. I'm going to eat what I want to eat, do what I want to do, and just live. And here's the other thing that I got in a habit of doing is the minute I get home, not the minute, but like the day that I get home, the day I get home in the morning after, I always weigh myself. Why? Because in the past, I would avoid it like the plague. Because you're like, oh my God, I've been traveling, I'm bloated, I've been eating stuff that I normally don't eat. I know I just blew up. And so what do? You're like, I'll weigh in next week. And then next week comes, and because you were so tired and trying to catch up from the trip, you were snacking, overeating, not really getting on your game. And then you're like, ooh, I don't want to get on the scale now. It's going to be even worse. What happens next? 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, months go by, and then you've packed on how many pounds? I speak from experience on that. So for me, I have found the best way to stay accountable is when you stay in the know. The best way to not get sideswiped by a weight gain is to like stay aware. If you stay aware, it's not going to come at you like out of nowhere. So I get on that scale and I go, okay, here we go. And I also give myself some grace to know like there's a little bit of bloating in there because I always get a little bit swollen from travel and all those things. But just do it so that you can face the music and not create stories about what may or may not have happened. Because sometimes you might get on there and it's the same. Like I know one time, maybe it was last year, I don't even know. It was the same or it was down. Like there's times that's happened. But what we do is we create a narrative and a story in our head and we believe it without having evidence. Get on the scale and have your evidence. And every time you get on the scale is an opportunity to create a better relationship with yourself. It is an opportunity for you to learn that the scale is just the scale and that the scale does not define who you are, your worth, and all of those things. It's just one piece of the puzzle. It's one piece of data in your journey. But it's a way to stay accountable and not be like, I don't know what happened. I just can't imagine what happened. Yeah, you know what happened. We just decide to tune it out. So on that note, I am going to let you go. This is a short episode because I need to finish packing. I need to finish up a couple more like projects for work and stuff like that. So please connect with me over on Instagram. I am at Irresistible Icing. I will give you all the warning that from here on, well, if you're listening to this, when you're listening to this, I'm already home. So if you've been watching my Instagram stories, you know it's like Disney mania. So that's what's going to happen. I'll probably be having withdrawal for the next couple of days like I always do. And then I've got to figure out when to plan the next trip because travel is my everything. I love it. And I want to have as many experiences as humanly possible in this lifetime. So thank you guys for listening. I hope you're doing well. If you are doing semaglutide or any of the other weight loss injections, DM me over on Instagram. Let me know how things are going. I will continue to share with you as I go through this journey. Until next time, stay irresistible. Bye, guys.